This is Screendivers. In this week's episode, we are talking about 1998 Enemy of the State. Directed by Tony Scott, written by David Marconi, produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, and starring Will Smith, Gene Hackman, Jon Voight, Regina King, Lauren Dean, Jake Busey, Barry Pepper, Gabriel Byrne, and many other character actors. Cinematography by Dan Mindell, edited by Chris Levinson, music by Trevor Rabin and Harry Gregson Williams, produced by Touchstone Pictures and Jerry Bruckheimer Films and Scott Free Productions, distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distributions. This movie has a running time of 132 minutes. It was shot in the United States for a budget of $90 million. This movie raked $250 million at the box office. How are you guys?
I'm good. How are you, Ricky?
I am wonderful. How are you both?
I'm really good. I really enjoyed watching this movie again.
Mm-hmm.
It has problems, but it's,
So do we.
Yeah, we all have problems.
I mean, there was going to be problems because Steve came over. He put a hand on my leg, as he usually does. It was a big explosion. He felt like it was ideal to put a hand on my leg.
He was just checking if you were in the mood or not.
Mate, when that shotgun came out, holy shit, dude.
Shut up.
Dude,
Come on.
he's out of control. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but, it's... Yeah.
No, just that explosion. I know we discussed it at the time, but yeah, completely practical and filmed while they were shooting that entire scene.
That's
wow.
what we're here to talk
Wow.
about. Wow. With all pleasantries aside, a quintessential question must be asked. Ricky, what is this movie about?
Robert Dean is your average lawyer douchebag who is working against the mob. But little does he know that going into a lingerie shop would be the end of days for him. He is then followed mercilessly by the government, and he has only one ally who does not see him as one.
That's what this movie is about. But is it that a gentleman known by the name of Harry Cole may be present in this movie?
Yeah.
I don't believe it, personally.
I do believe it. They use the same photo from the conversation as well on top of it.
It's not just the one photo. There are a number of them. I watched the documentary off the Blu-ray with the director's bits and pieces, and he states this is an unofficial sequel.
Yeah. I believe it, man. I mean, part of it, I can see why they would take that out partially. Otherwise, you would have to go and talk to Coppola and all this shit.
Yeah.
But also because that property may belong to a different production company, and that's a big one. But it's, there's still in the script, they left some stuff. Like he worked for the NSA, and we get a taste of that when Harry Cole describes his entire involvement, throughout the Nixon presidency and the incident that led to his trauma. I mean, but yeah, I see what you mean, Ricky. Like it was probably intended originally, and they had to, they had to take out as much as possible because of the implications.
Because of the implication.
Oh, okay. You had me going there for the first part. The second half kind of threw me.
Yeah. There's a lot of elements of the script which, the cage he works in, which we'll talk about later on, is very thematic with the conversation.
It is.
But it's a big homage, let's be honest. And it's a big homage to a lot of other great films as well, which we're going to talk about. But shall we start off by talking about the W to the I to the LL Smith and his involvement in this film?
Mate, dude, you do realize that Jaden, his wife and him got married
Jada
in Baltimore.
Pinkett Smith.
In Baltimore while filming this movie.
Yep.
Wow. Look who's done their research, mate. Look at him, man. All guns blazing. Pew, 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 pew. Fantastic, man. Or blasters blazing. Well done.
Blasters.
Well, technically, we're here today to discuss one thing and one thing only. I didn't think that the day would come in which I saw Jake Busey and Barry Pepper acting next to each other. They were 12 clones, dude. And speaking of clones, Trevor Rabin. Didn't that guy make the music for the 6th day? There's more DNA shared within the lore.
I was just happy to see Jason Lee in a role where he wasn't being an arsehole.
True. Oh, well, he's a bit douchey. He's a bit douchey.
A little bit.
Well, if he fucking didn't do that, Will Smith wouldn't have slapped Chris Rock years later.
Okay. I have a confession to make as well.
I've got another confession to make.
What is it?
During our watch through, Umba, I said, I can't remember PCMCA cards doing memory.
Right.
Yeah, they did. They went up to about 4 gig.
Oh,
yeah, I think I knew that. I didn't want to say anything because I already gave him shit.
I just went, oh my God, this is so douchery. And yeah.
Let's get out of the way. That wasn't the only time we clashed while watching this movie.
Yeah, it's
true. At one point, we were going full divorce over something pretty stupid, all right? Something that he was correct about, but it's...
I was correct.
Because you can find whatever the fuck you want on the internet, all right? Now, allegedly, the filter, the color palette that Tony Scott used several times is an amber. It's an amber colored kind of filter, right? Now, he has a tendency to use an amber colored filter. Now, he goes, tobacco. I'm like, what, dude, it's amber. He goes, tobacco. And I said, it's amber, man. It's amber. So a couple of minutes went by and I went, it's amber, all right? It's not tobacco. He goes, oh, what do you mean? So he goes on his phone straight away to pause the movie, to fucking... Fine. Then I go on my phone and check, by the way. It was Tiffin Tobacco. That's the filter he used. But then I went out of my way later on throughout the movie to bring up the Pantone color reference to amber, which is exactly that, right?
So you guys had a proper Sundance Kid moment. It's like, pick up the gun. Tobacco.
Pretty much. Pick up the phone. Open a tab. Jesus.
All right. So we start off this film with the fact that, unlike the conversation, we know who the bad guy is. And it's given to us in black and white. Do not trust Jon Voight. Can you trust Jon Voight in any film? No, you can't. But in this film... Do not trust Jon Voight.
Another thing, dude, I kept doing this. Must have been irritating for Steve. Sure.
It was
because I kept doing it throughout the movie. Right? There is so much DNA shed with Seinfeld. As in a lot, mate. No. Okay, I'll tell you.
And Fraser.
It's on my notes, but
and Fraser.
Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Oh my. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe, but I got you pegged. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face. what is a boy to do? Frazier has left the building.
And Fraser. Who the fuck? Who? Did you say Fraser?
And Fraser.
Who the fuck is Fraser?
Fraser.
There's actually an episode where Fraser gets upset because someone keeps calling him Fraser.
But is it also with Friends as well? That's my question.
Oh my God, well, that's your connection. You fucking cover that. All right? There's no way I'm not putting that tune in here now.
No.
Okay, so we have, I said Regina King, by the way. I like to think that it's Regina. It's Regina, right?
Yeah,
it depends. Yeah, it's Regina King. So, sorry, Regina. Sorry, Regina. So, Regina King is in an episode of Seinfeld. Anna Gunn from Breaking Bad is in an episode of Seinfeld. She's Jon Voight's wife in this.
Yeah.
We also have Seth Green is in this movie, and I think he appears in an episode of Seinfeld, and I think he appears in an episode of Frasier as well. Jamie Kennedy is in this, and he's been fucking everywhere. Which, by the way, the older that guy gets, the more insufferable he gets. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, sometimes he may have a good anecdote to talk about on somebody's podcast or his podcast, because I think he's got one.
Yeah.
And he's just super douchey. Like, he just feels like, it feels like talking to someone when you're listening to him, someone who has just had a fucking couple of bombs of coke.
Yeah, but this is why in 1999, this was probably his sweet spot. This was like we haven't been exposed too much to him, so he's all right sort of thing.
I guess. And there's many more, dude. There's many more people that are in this movie that were in Seinfeld as well. The list is fucking too long. We all, like, there's so many connections with, like, seminal television as well. Lisa Bonet is in this. You know, Lisa Bonet from the Cosby Family, right? Wasn't she one of the Cosbys? I think she was, right?
Yeah, but she, most important, in my history, most importantly, she was in High Fidelity. And she was definitely like the one to correct John Cusack on his, I'm a forlorn love puppy moment during High Fidelity, which was needed for a lot of older teens and young 20-year-olds.
And don't forget Angel Heart, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, there was like a clinical way in which this casting was assembled. Like, you can see that they wanted a return, and they nailed it. Whoever did this is a technician, mate. Because $250 million, it's a lot of money by today's standards. It was a fortune back then. And this is before Will Smith decided to go and shit on his entire career with that slap. He's an idiot. I was just talking to a friend the other day about this. He was beloved, dude. It was in circles that people knew that he was an asshole, but outside of those circles, the world find out with one slap, dude. Before then, he was loved by a lot of people because he's an integral part of two generations, formative years.
But it was also kind of set, they did that whole like reunion of the Bel Airs or whatever it was called that Fox tried to push to be like, hey, we're doing all these reunion specials, so we'll get the Fresh Prince of Bel Air cast together. The original actress who played his mum pretty much said to him, like, why did you blacklist me? You told everybody that I was difficult to work with. And so it was kind of already coming out that, and he was like, I was young, I was stupid, I was just trying to get a foot in the door and all. And it's just like, no. It turns out that Will Smith, you can trust him as much as you can beat the crap out of him. That sort of thing.
What's the name of that track he made a fucking video clip for recently? That it's like I Like Girls or something it's called. There's something ridiculous.
Oh, you know more than me because I thought you were going to refer to something like from 10 or 15 years ago, like Big Willie style.
I'm gonna play it here because it's
been a problem ever since I was a little boy. Actually, I think it's gotten worse as I've gotten older. I thought I had it under control, but I'm literally experiencing it right now, like literally this second.
Oh. And how would you define this problem? Can you make me understand?
I like pretty girls. Girls, 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 girls. I love pretty girls. Girls, 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 girls. I like pretty girls. Girls, 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 girls. I love pretty girls. Girls, 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 girls. You don't gotta wait in line tonight. You too fine for the line tonight. 5 + 5, you a dime tonight. It's a full house, better play your cards right. I'ma post your pic if you pose. Make one phone call, you in vogue. Head, shoulders, knees, toes. Hold up, wait, pose. I'm about to do some investing. I'll spend it on you and your bestie. You and your twin on a jet ski. I'll change your life if you let me.
He's going through like his creep years now. And that one is really bad. Like, because of the context. I'm pretty sure that if it came out without the slap, yeah, it would have still been creepy, but people wouldn't have, like, now it's, you see, you know how many channels you have to go through when you do something like that? You got to produce something and this will be approved, whatever. Nobody fucking put their hand up going, don't do this, mate. Don't do this, Will. It's the same problem. Like,
but he's on a level. He's on, like, it's one of those hard things because they're on a certain level where they've got supporters who will be, like, behind them. So, for example, it's the same thing with what's going, and this is me going into my hip-hop side, same thing that's going on with Drake. Like, everybody knows Drake is a perv, and everybody knows Drake likes him young, and Kendrick dropped that track off, everyone knows, and he's still releasing albums, and he's still touring the world, so,
True.
You know.
But in this instance, trust me when you see, because you don't know the clip I'm talking about.
No, I
I'm
don't.
going to send it to you later. He's lost support from all sides now. That's the thing. Like, and when that happens, you're done. His career is done. Now he's trying to get collaborations with YouTubers and people that, you know, have reels on social media. Like there's the guy that goes, you know, have some pasta, bitch. You saw that guy that appears all over Facebook. He went to cook with him. So it's like he's partnering up with all these like second tier celebrities, like or third tier celebrities. But wait a second, because we're still talking about the cast of this movie and how they achieved this 250 million thing and why there's a clinical edge to the way this cast was assembled and yield returns for that very reason, right? Because they targeted different demographics. Dude, they threw the kitchen sink at this. You have Gene Hackman. Then you go Will, that is now older, but then you also have every single fucking kid that was edgy in the 1990s. By the way, I completely forgot that, what's his name? Scott Kahn had no neck. He's got no neck, dude. Jesus Christ, man.
But he's got a very famous dad.
I would never lend him a t-shirt or a sweater. It would just fucking ruin the neck. How the fuck? I don't understand.
I had a hard time recognizing Scott Kahn. Because I was
like,
James
Caan's son?
Yeah, no, but I had
I
had a hard time recognizing him because I was like, oh, no, Scott Kahn, because he has like James's eyes and he has James because of the whole, but his head and his neck kind of just go. Woof.
He looks like Krang. Is that the name of is it Krang? You know, it's like, is it one of the bad guys from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Is it Krang, the guy that's got the little?
It's Kronk, isn't it?
Kronk?
No,
whatever.
Kronk
It's just it reminds me.
Disney.
Look at a picture of him.
Krang.
Yeah.
Krang is Krang. Krang the Conqueror.
One.
There you go. Jesus
Christ.
And another thing, why they get the haircuts? I understand that they're all part of the same division, whatever. You put those three next to each other, they look like three ridiculous action figures.
Okay, so this comes from a visit to NSA by Tony Scott. Yeah. And quite literally, when he walked in to see everybody, he realized that everybody who was in the NSA as field office was actually really young. They were in their 20s.
Did they all have crew cuts?
A lot of them had crew cuts because they're straight out of university and straight out of the military.
They all look like
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
They all look like Johnny Bravos, man. What the fuck is going on here? And I love Barry Pepper and I love Jake Busey. Every single time I see them, I just didn't think that putting them together would be weird. It is weird. It is fucking weird. Man, Barry Pepper was the coolest character, for me at least, in Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
He was a sniper.
Yeah.
He fucking made that movie for me. He never gets commended for that part.
Yeah.
He should be.
And his death is probably the most memorable out of all the
Oh,
deaths.
dude, just the way he kissed his crucifix every time before. It's just like all these little things. I'm going to watch that movie later, just to watch that part with him. And also, another connection with Saving Private Ryan. Tom Sizemore is in this.
Yep.
Now.
And Tom Sizemore, he looked like, I mean, there's a section where he's sweating under the lights. I don't think they had to spray him with anything.
Oh, no.
I think he was doing a lot of heroin back then, and it's...
But we will talk about their credits later on.
Well, so many. The Sopranos, is that what you're going to talk about? There's so many of The Sopranos here.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Like, even the minute that Will Smith walks into that room to talk to people about, like, oh, yeah, I got beaten up because, some Guidos. We don't call them Guidos here. That whole scene, I was like, oh, those two were from The Sopranos. That's the guy who gets shot by Tony. That's one of the advisors on the other side. And then they walk into the next scene, and I'm like, there's doors everywhere. Oh, my God. 4 crusties.
The tension in that scene is palpable. I actually really like that. And I thought, who the fuck would talk to these guys like this? In fact, that tone changes very quickly. And I just thought, later on in the movie, oh, poor Will, he's got the mob and the NSA and the cops and the FBI, everyone's after him. And then I started thinking, it's well deserved. He was rubbing everybody the wrong way. I just thought, fuck, man, you should have the fire brigade after you as well. Look what happened to Jason Lee and the fire brigade. The lady that sees him, like when he goes up to, he's over the overpass.
Oh, what's that?
And he asks the lady, so what happened here? And the lady goes, he got creamed. Like, what the fuck? I had to ask Steve, what did she say? Why would she say that? He got creamed.
Because she's in a Tony Scott film. That's why.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look, the entire conversation, the fight over amber and tobacco between myself and Steve started because we were looking at how much this movie is stylized at times. And you know what? Thank God it's done sparingly. Oh, because it was already beginning to get on me a little bit. There's one of the sequences later where, what's the name of Will Smith's character, by the way? How are we going to refer to him?
Dean.
Yeah. There's the entire sequence of Dean running wearing nothing but a bathrobe down a tunnel, right? And you get these flashes of this overly saturated kind of filter. And at times it looked good because there is a ton of, and in fact, Steve was mentioning the amber filter, which is not used here. That's why this came up in conversation. He said, oh, Tony Scott's not using his usual filter. And then I said, holy shit, there's a lot of Screendivers palette in here, red and blue. And there's a lot of red and blue in this. And I think it's because it was used specifically to evoke a sense of emergency. Because there's one part of law enforcement here that is completely out of this movie, but it's represented by, in my opinion, by the palette used, the cops. The police is barely present in this film. You do have the FBI, the NSA. You've got, what is it, FBI, NSA.
CIA. Was there any CIA? In this?
No.
There's the CIA, yeah. There's also a branch of like a sheriff's department. But again, we don't get this pronounced red and blue. And yet we get it in the palette. There's a lot of it, which is unusual for Tony. Steve was right here. But it is an urban setting entirely. So maybe that's what it is. However, that stylization of the way this movie looked was getting on my fucking nerves. And we get a taste of it in that Jason Lee sequence. Now, I wasn't expecting this movie to give me something as visceral as that. His death is brutal.
Oh, just the way he's laying on that floor is freaking. It's really, really well done. I know we've all lived in London, and some of us have seen bike accidents, in central London, and it's not nice or pretty, and that was quite spot on.
Yeah, but it's almost like a Faces of Death kind of death in this. It's very visceral, it's very real, and You see it. You see it all.
You have to look at it for a while because for some reason Tony Scott thought, you know what, we need to see Barry Pepper search through every single pocket on his corpse.
I actually...
It's also lovely to see a different part. Like, it's very easy just because one of the other films that this was based on was 3 Days of the Condor.
Yes.
Which, if you haven't seen, is a Robert Redford film. And it's very close to Enemy of the State. I mean, if you put the two films next to each other, which is why I find it a little rich that people say, oh, The Conversation is a direct link to this. Because this feels more like the remake of 3 Days of the Condor.
Ridley Scott actually brings up 3 Days of the Condor in the in behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
as a direct reference,
and you can see that.
But we weren't talking about this movie being evocative of that. We were just alluding to the assumption, and there are, it's standing on its feet that Gene Hackman is reprising the role of Harry Cole. So maybe we didn't articulate it well enough earlier. I think in the script he was because also. If you remember our conversation about the conversation, some Matryoshka, our conversation about the conversation, we kind of circled around, this topic. We did say that there are there's more than one reason why that's because it sounds like a funny name, right? Obviously, he's changed his name and went to another city because because he moved away from what happened. Like, this is political. There was political connotations and involvement to whatever happened with him.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was 3 Days of the Condor is a very New York film. Whereas this one, surprisingly, even though most of the filming was actually done in LA, what's really great about this is that it's definitely a Washington film. It's definitely a Virginia, Maryland film. Like, you have the Patapsco River, Baltimore, it has those areas. And one of the clues that tells you that it's that sort of region is that they keep talking about Georgetown in the early part where he got his degree in law. And then that's how he knows Jason Lee, because of Georgetown University.
Man, the juxtaposition that they just run into each other like that, it's fucking... I don't even know what the population density is of Baltimore. They haven't seen each other since. And it's just the way he drops it. It's just not believable. Also, with all the tech that is available today, some of the stuff you see now, and somehow though, when stuff like this happens, you go, oh my God, this is prophetic. Like the equivalent of looking at an episode of Star Trek and then looking at stuff that then became part of our reality now. Yes, that looked like real life has taken inspiration from, for sure. Because all those people grew up watching those things, right? So it makes sense. But in this instance, it doesn't feel believable at all. I don't think that this movie had any influence on the tech that we have today. It's just that they winged it. Because some of the stuff that they did back then, you can't even do now. It's ridiculous. The entirety, and also the terminology used. Mate, there's a moment in which we both exploded in laughter. And it's about Jack Black talking about, he's describing to the management team, whatever, because to him, this is a training exercise, allegedly. Because he's a proper scumbag. Like, I've never seen Jack Black playing such a slimy role. Here he's a piece of shit, right? He looks like a peeping Tom. They could have laid on it and laid it thick even further, but they didn't. Or did they? But anyway,
a deleted scene, actually.
Well, you're going to talk about that in a second, but they're talking about they retrieved the bags, or before they retrieved the bags, they're talking about the footage that, it's describing to them the footage that they have or what happened. Which is this impossible fucking turning around and just creating a 3D rendering on what the camera should have seen or whatever. And he goes, oh, you see, the object has changed the configuration of the bag. The object has changed the configuration of the bag. And when we heard that, I thought, what a fucking contrived way to say, oh, look, there's a bump on the side. It wasn't there. Like, yeah, like, what the fuck are you talking about, Jack?
It's bulbous now.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the sack of the bulldog that I just removed the testicles of.
Oh, my God. Oh, dude.
Jesus. It's just, I never wanted to see a side character as dead as I wanted to see Jack Black die.
Did it not remind you of Blade Runner, though? That they just basically took like all the words of Harrison Ford.
Enhance.
Yeah, enhance.
Right. 180. Turn 180 degrees. Enhance.
Enhance 224 to 176. Enhance. Stop. Move in. Stop. Pull out track right. Stop.
Yeah, but Harrison and Billy, another Scott connection there.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Imagine if actually this is the result of Tony calling Ridley going, hey, should we do this? Just get Jack Black to say, change the configuration of the bag. Fuck you, Ridley. He keeps doing this remotely.
Hey, Ridley, I really hate this guy, Jack Black. I want him to say something really stupid right now in the film. What can he say? Tell him to say, change the configuration and then put my name on the script because you know I am the best person in the business.
You can see that there is so much influence coming from the director here. And that's the problem. Like, it's usually a producer that will call the shots. Here it's Tony, right? Because it's my fucking brother's money. So it is, because it's Scott production.
And Jerry Bruckheimer.
For sure. Bruckheimer fucking came when that explosion happened. It's like, I want to use the 30% of the budget on the explosion. It's like, yes, go ahead. Because that's what the fuck happened here. I mean, I don't even know what the side. We should have checked what the individual side is. Which, by the way, sorry, let's go to why we're here today. We selected this movie because it's a Gene Hackman picture, and I didn't even realize that we watched this movie, at least me and Steve did, on the day of Gene Hackman's birthday.
Okay, so what, Umba, was placed into the bag? Because you know exactly what this was.
Well, because we looked for it.
Yeah.
And, it was a Neo Geo TurboGraf? No, it was a Neo Geo Express.
It was an NEC Turbo Express. So it plays TurboGrafx 16 games.
There you go.
That's what you...
And here's the kicker. As we were looking for the exact name of that device, one of the matches that we had on an eBay auction, it's going for like 1,300 quid.
Fuck off.
Yeah. And now I want one. I want to know why this thing is worth so much.
And does it come with games?
Just a unit.
It's just a unit.
Just a unit.
No games.
Just a unit.
Fuck
no
off.
games. Yeah.
No.
But don't look at it because you want one. I'm telling you.
I will.
Don't look at it because you want one. Because it played the equivalent of coin-ops, dude, in portable form. I remember there was a super rich kid. You know, I grew up, you know, in a good environment, but this kid really had stupid money. And he also was a latchkey kid because his parents were always working, so he was always alone. So it turned out to be a mess. I'm not going to mention who he is, but we used to go to his house all the time because he had a Neo Geo. So and he was the only one to have it. You know, it was that console that didn't do that well because it used to be an import. So you had to pay through the nose. But the idea is that at the beginning, all the games were really good. Which, by the way, we need to double check if Neo Geo is made by NEC. Someone's got to check.
Yeah, I'll do it now.
Yeah.
Every time they release any Neo Geo games nowadays, they're like gold dust, or everybody needs to buy them. I know that every time I see an advert for a new Final Fight game, I'm like, I need it.
SNK.
Yeah. Final Fight and Fatal Fury as well. Those were two. It was a title, right? Yeah. Steve, you said
Final Fight. Yeah. Fatal Fury was the fighter games. Final Fight was obviously the Capcom style scroller.
Beat 'em up.
I always played with Hugger every single time because of that move that he had. His special move, like he rotated and just fucking hit everybody.
Dear audience, we all just made some weird sort of bear movement with our arms cocked up halfway by our heads as we rotated our hips.
While wearing a belt across our chests.
Did you just describe this for blind people?
Yeah, I did.
It's audio only. Our show is only audio, dude.
So yes, for the blind audience we have, yes, I did.
Because I was going to say something even more stupid, which is, did you describe it for the deaf? Oh my God! Anyway.
Do you want it in Braille?
Yeah. Oh, no. Dot, 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 dot.
Bumpy bumps.
Bumpy bumps.
So the company which made the Neo Geo was the SNK Corporation, which is Shin Nihon Kikau.
Gonna have a stroke. Kikau. What the fuck?
Kikaku. Kikaku? Yeah, Shin Nihon Kikaku.
Oh, there we go. That sounds much better than the previous pronunciation.
Jesus Christ. They're going to take our passports if we ever go to Korea. Is that Korean company or Japanese?
No, of course it's Japanese.
Right?
It's Japanese.
Of course it's Japanese.
Yeah. Now we upset the Koreans as well.
Oh, please.
It's fun to fight.
Exactly.
Whoa! Whoa! Okay.
You know, I'm sure they were also behind Streets of Rage. I'm sure Sega kind of said, come on, give us your coding for Streets of Rage.
So basically, the Neo Geo was a multi-video system, so it used
I can see your eyes darting to the screen as you describe these to us.
Because
it's not like you're doing it off the cuff, you're reading it off the screen. And I'm telling you, as we are discussing all of this, I can see two dudes masturbating to our podcast. And let's call out Neil Rickman and Carl D. Smith. What we're trying to say is that we appreciate that you also are gamers, okay? Traditional retro arcade games.
Did you mean gamers, not gators?
Gamers is spelled with the gay at the front. Gamers.
Hey, Carl. Hey, Nick. How you doing?
How are you, Carl? How are you, Neil?
Hey, Carl.
Hello, greetings from Agar.
Neil, how you doing?
I'm leaving all of this in. I'm leaving all of it
Wasn't Haga the mayor of the city as well?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was mayor of the city.
Yeah.
He stripped down to just his trousers.
He looked like a roided up Freddie Mercury. And there's no way that if you walk into a Blue Oyster bar, there wouldn't be someone dressed as Hagar in there with leather overalls.
And on that note,
this is our review of Anima of the State.
I'll review that album as well. I'll do it.
So much music to put in here, dude. Gene Hackman. Anyway, Gene Hackman. So that's why we're here today. Dude, this is a massive cul-de-sac. That's what we were. Gene Hackman 15 minutes ago.
Dressed like Haga.
So he comes on 50 minutes into the movie, dude.
Yeah,
50 minutes in. And I'm wondering, I started like thinking about this. Like sometimes we get an actor and their part, it's kind of cut a little. I think it was Michelle at some point. She mentioned something when we were doing Herzog's Bad Lieutenant Port of Call, New Orleans. And she was looking about, it feels like Val Kilmer's just there, like it's a throwaway role, and he wasn't on screen that much. And yeah, well, they made that for $2.4 million or whatever it was. I think it was a $2 million budget. And of course, you would have had Val's agent going, you want Val Kilmer in this picture a little more. It doesn't matter that his career was on the downslide. You still have to pay more. And I think that that's what happened with Hackman here. And I don't think that there's any negotiating with Hackman either. He wasn't an easy man to deal with. So he's in this movie. He's second act forward. He's kind of in it a little. But man, I just love that smile. I missed him so much. I said this to Steve while we were watching the movie. I was like, I'm so sorry he's gone. I think it was you, Ricky. You sent me a link to another Arthur Penn movie with him the other day. Do you remember the title? Because I had to reinstall WhatsApp on my phone and I lost all of our previous messages.
Oh, well, we'll talk about it later on when I remember what I sent you.
there's a lot of stuff in this, which is almost predicting the future, because with their Security Act that they're trying to put through, it was only 3 years later, after 9/11, that we got the entire act pushed through.
So it must have been topical.
It's topical.
I can't remember, but it must have been topical at the time.
It's got to have been topical at the time. But just the sheer fact that the surveillance state, which they pushed into place 3 years after this movie came out, and the idea that this is just one of those crazy things. You know, Will Smith actually turned down a role for Snake Eyes to play this movie.
Oh, Nicolas Cage would have been great in this, mate. Oh, he would have been great in this. He would. No, listen to me. Fucking when he's pleading with his wife. When he's pleading with his wife, when he comes back, when Dean comes back, that entire sequence in the garage, it's out of this world. I just thought, who does this? Who talks like this?
I know.
Do you remember the sequence in question?
Yeah. It just the fact that she's wearing underwear.
And then it leads into this, like, can you understand how out of place this entire fucking thing feels? It's just...
But there's been many reports about this film having a lot of script changes happening on set. And one of them was the most famous one that everybody's like, oh, it was so funny, dude, is when Will Smith starts talking about the lingerie and saying, like, no, it's for me. I cross-dress on the weekends and my name is Tracy, or whatever he says. Yeah. But you can tell that there was a lot of changes even behind the scenes, because Steve and I have watched the same featurette where they said that they had people who were part of the NSA on set advising, and as things were happening, they would turn to the NSA and be like, well, would they do it like that? And they're like, give us some time with the script. And they would then do their own changes for the script as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of script changes going on in this film.
I'll tell you behind what my assumption is here when it comes down to casting. I can tell you firmly who top billing was, and then someone went, he probably turned it down because he already worked with Hackman. What was the name of that movie? With Tom Cruise. Because this is a Tom Cruise role.
Yeah.
The Firm.
Yeah.
And it must have been before this. This is 98, so The Firm is definitely before this one. And I think, because he would have been better. He wouldn't be better in this story. He would have brought the gravitas. This movie doesn't need comedy in it. This movie would have been just as compelling without the little quips.
Do you want to know the history? Right, the history is that...
because those quips don't even fucking land.
Yeah.
They don't land.
But originally it wasn't meant to be even Tony Scott.
Yeah.
There's a whole list of changes. And this, if you want to talk about a film going through the Hollywood machine, this is it.
This is it.
And
then to make money of it at the end of it, it's crazy.
Yeah. So George Clooney was signed up for this at one point. There's loads of names. Like, there's a list of names all over the shop.
Tom Cruise including.
Tom Cruise included. But Tom Cruise didn't join on to this film because he wanted to work with Kubrick. And he went and did Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Actually, this film started with mainly Gene Hackman being the only one to say yes. After multiple times saying, like, no, I've already done a film like that. No, the conversation's done. He was
that goes over to prove what we discussed. They probably pitched it to him as a fucking sequel, right?
Yeah. But he finally said, all right, I'll do it. And it was from him.
Is this your Hackman, by the way?
Did
you just... No, what? You have to do the smile. Do the smile, man. Do that smile.
And then the girl, I put the girl up as my own, and I said to her, anyway.
For our visually impaired listeners, here's a bumpity bump. Braille is going to be bumpity bump from now on, man.
But
right, sorry.
My point is that so Gene Hackman was the only solid person who got brought onto this film, and from that's how the casting is as amazing as it is, because even the uncredited casts, and we'll go further into that, are amazing. They're all calibered actors who had been doing. One of them that has a blink and you miss it role is Philip Baker Hall, and he was uncredited. And if you don't know who Philip Baker Hall is, all you have to do is think all the way back to Paul Thomas Anderson's Hard Eight or Magnolia, where basically he's in a bed for it. But this guy was a renowned...
Oh, dude, he's in Seinfeld. He's the book.
Yeah!
Is the inspector that goes to retrieve books that are not returned to the library.
Yeah.
And it's one of the funniest episodes of Seinfeld.
You took this book out in 1971.
Yes, and I returned it in 1971.
Yeah, 71. That was my first year on the job. Bad year for libraries. Bad year for America. Hippies burning library cards. Abby Hoffman telling everybody to steal books. I don't judge a man by the length of his hair or the kind of music he listens to. Rock was never my bag. But you put on a pair of shoes when you walk into the New York Public Library, fella.
Look, Mr. Bookman. I returned that book. I remember it very specifically.
You're a comedian. You make people laugh.
I try.
You think this is all a big joke, don't you?
No, I don't.
I saw you on TV once. I remembered your name from my list. I looked it up. Sure enough, it checked out. You think because you're a celebrity that somehow the law doesn't apply to you, that you're above the law?
Certainly not.
Well, let me tell you something funny, boy. You know that little stamp? The one that says New York Public Library? Well, that may not mean anything to you, but that means a lot to me. One whole hell of a lot. Sure, go ahead, laugh if you want to. I've seen your type before. Flashy, making the scene, flaunting convention. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What's this guy making such a big stink about old library books? Well, let me give you a hint, Junior. Maybe we can live without libraries, people like you and me. Maybe. Sure, we're too old to change the world. But what about that kid sitting down, opening a book right now in a branch of the local library and finding drawings of peepees and wee-wees and the Cat in the Hat and the 5 Chinese brothers? Doesn't he deserve better? Look, if you think this is about overdue fines and missing books, you better think again. This is about that kid's right to read a book without getting his mind warped. Or maybe that turns you on, Seinfeld. Maybe that's how you get your kicks. You and your good time buddies. Well, I got a flash for you, Joy Boy. Party time is over. You got 7 days, Seinfeld. That is 1 week.
He's in Magnolia, yeah. He's a phenomenal actor. He's in Curb Your Enthusiasm as well. He's died, dude. He died 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, and even the guy who gets offed early on in the film, the senator, Jason Robards.
Yes.
You might know him, again, from a lot of Paul Thomas
He plays
Anderson
the judge
films.
in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but most importantly, he's in one of my favorite anti-war films, Johnny Got His Gun, as Joe's father, and he is, again, uncredited. There's a lot of
talent
reasons.
in this movie.
There's a lot of reasons behind this, because I went on a deep dive of why any actor would be uncredited for a film.
Why?
Well, number one...
Is it a loophole? It's a loophole, right?
A lot of it is to do with contractual
it's a Screen
issues.
Guild, something.
Yes. So if you are credited and you've already signed up to the Screen Guild to be a certain actor of a certain caliber, then that means that every movie you sign on to, you have a minimum fee. If you think about the amount of money they blew on like sets, locations, explosions, Steve will talk
Man,
about
that
the
explosion must have cost a fortune.
explosion.
I said to Steve, that's a model, right? He goes,
No, it was not a model.
It looked like they raised, they looked at planning commissions. They went, so you want to build condos here? Fucking Jerry, we found the place.
Well,
Dude, okay. It used to be a Dr. Pepper factory.
No way. It was a Dr. Pepper factory.
It was a Dr. Pepper factory.
What a fucking stylish way to drop a factoid.
I
Yeah,
know.
Drop a bag of factoids.
But
They blew up a
Even-
Dr. Pepper.
even as they blew Dr. Pepper. Oh my goodness.
You know what Will Smith was doing in that place? He wasn't just
He was
buying
blowing
lingerie.
Dr.
He was
Pepper.
buying factoids. He was buying factoids.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But even that scene that was Blink If You Miss It, where he goes down that tunnel. He goes
Oh, my
down
God.
that tunnel, and all of a sudden the cars appear out of nowhere. So that tunnel was not car accessible. So you know what they did? They cut up the cars and then re-welded them in that tunnel. This is where all the money went. It's like they couldn't afford to give any of the actors that they hired on later on any any sort of salary. So they were like, could you do it uncredited? Because
Mate, then the other thing as well, they probably promised them the world, like this will give you status, like this movie's going to be huge. And they were right. It made a lot of fucking money. A lot of money, dude. 250 million back then is a lot of money for a movie like this. It really is in 98. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is, look, I kept saying to Steve, look, the camera's slanted. The camera's on an angle. Every single time to portray like disarray or confusion, just tilt the camera. Just tilt the camera. They do it every time here, and it's overdone. It's a thing that it's overdone. Even phone calls where the conversation goes topsy-turvy or off the rails. Camera on an angle. It's cheap.
Yeah, and so some other reasons why things are uncredited is because actually the actors were brought in after the credits, after all the credits were sort of solidified. So, for example, this is directly from Seth Green's mouth. It was the same time that Austin Powers had blown up on DVD and I had just made Idle Hands or just finished it. I was in production on Buffy, and it's one of those weird things when your agent wants you to help elevate you to a particular type of stature, and when they can't get a particular credit deal that you want, their recommendation is to go uncredited. So I got brought on for 1 or 2 days as a reshoot because when they tested the screening, audiences had no idea what the hell was going on. Right?
Yeah,
so he was the
happening.
guy who had to sit in a van and explain everything. And if you watch all of Seth Green's scenes,
it's exposition, yeah.
But not only that, there's only a certain core number of actors that are with him, and those core number of actors are the less paid actors. You never see him with Gene Hackman. You never see him with any of these bigger actors. You just see him in his core little hacker group all the time.
Also in that van, more Sopranos. That's Carmela's cousin.
Yeah.
The other dude.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's so many of them. So many of them. And actually, the first time we meet one of the... And isn't it funny that this guy coming in to see a lawyer to say, oh, it was a couple of Guidos. You're a Guido yourself, dude. That's how I kept thinking that. What's going on here? And I'm a Guido, so I get to say that, all right?
So it was really nice to go back to Blu-ray, bring up the features, which were hidden behind so many freaking options on this view, on my original Blu-ray I've got from Touchstone's Pictures from, it's my God, it's a very old one, 1080p, mate.
Oh,
1080p.
No way. Really?
Yeah. So it's been sat in my collection for quite some time. But and it was on and the second disc in that set was Pearl Harbor.
Oh, wow. It was a double.
Yeah,
a double set.
double. Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, like when you're looking at it, and when it's going through, other than the fact that he still uses those janky camera montages during the bits, it was just nice to go through some deleted scenes, expanded scenes and deleted scenes, especially with Dog Bite. That's nice.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's one of the most annoying things about today's physical media. Like, I can see why a lot of people are turning off physical media, because physical media is not what it used to be. Yesterday, Sally and I watched The Brutalist.
Oh.
No special features. Now, I know the film is freaking long, and I know, like, they need every little bit of the 4K disc to put the movie on, but no special features.
I really, really miss the days of heavy amounts. A second disc full of extra features. As something you can really get into, because you watched the movie. You've watched it. You've been interested in it. You want to see a little bit about the making of it. You want to see some deleted scenes. You want to see information from the technical advisors, or a director's commentary.
The amount of, and Peter Jackson is to blame for this because he knew how to make a good DVD compilation set. He knew how to make a good Blu-ray set. Because the filmmakers of now, a lot of them would have watched like the full making of special features of something like Lord of the Rings, and they would have been like, oh my goodness, this is how film is made. I personally used to watch a lot of, I believe it was Studio Canal, I might be wrong, of a lot of the Chaplin stuff. Yeah. And the Chaplin stuff would go into all of his drawn arts of how things are. He put things together, and you don't get that nowadays. So this featurette of Enemy of the State, because I think I saw the same one. I saw was it like 4 or 5 videos, but you can watch it all as one big set?
Yeah.
So I think I saw the same one, and there was just a lot of stuff in there which you could see was staged, but at the same time, there was a lot of people that they didn't interview that they then showed clips of. And that's where I started going down this rabbit hole of like, why was Seth Green uncredited on this movie? And it's because he got brought in after the first production cut.
There's a 5-minute piece of video which has been floating around, and it's really hard to track down, and it's basically Tony Scott directing, and it's not on this video. It's one of the it was basically recorded by one of the guys behind the camera at the time of filming of this movie, and people are searching for it consistently because it's been documented. And but supposedly one of the reasons why it might not have been released is because it may have Tony Scott being quite shouty.
Abusive.
Yeah, let's just say that.
Well, that's the thing. I think Tony Scott, David O. Russell, they're all this sort of director.
Old school director.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is the vision, this is the art, or what they think is the art. But at the end of the day, I can't imagine, and I was looking through the list of directors who were originally assigned to this film. I can't imagine any other director having this script and going, you know what we really need? We need car chases, we need explosions, we need things destroying themselves around the action.
But that's Jerry's influence as well. Because car chases is Tony Scott, but explosions, that's Bruckmeyer.
Yeah.
I put some money in this.
I want to see it blow
Probably
up.
put a lot of money in it. Just say that.
Steve, can you describe I love the guy who talks you through all of the building that's about to explode, because he is literally he's just a demolition guy and he's so funny. What was it? A city demolition or something like that. So he's basically talking through the entire process of every single window has got one of his barrels pointing out for the explosion. Everything's primed. It's a one take. If it goes wrong, that's it. It's gone. And he has so much love in describing we've created these troughs so that when the explosion happens, it will just buckle in on it. So he has so much love over his craft.
It's just the fact that everything's held together by ropes. Yeah. The entire building is pretty much just held together with rope by the end of it, because they've cut every single section of the floor, a vertical slice straight, you
can see the building collapsing on itself.
Yeah. So it's got a vertical slice all the way up through the central section, and the fact that each of the core pieces of the supports have got 3 separate holes drilled into them and loaded with explosives. So I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it is one of the most beautiful moments of the film. That shot was directed brilliantly,
and it's not just directed. It's not just we're going to walk away and explode it. It's part of the movie. It's because we've got the cars driving off at the same time, so you get that shot where it's a tangible part of the movie, and it's a huge explosion.
Now there are other connections with. Because I kept talking about the car that Gene Hackman is driving. It's a classic American car. It's an El Camino. And there's connotations with other stuff that the actors that have been in this movie, and somehow there's DNA shared with other shows, and this is completely unintentional, but the car that Earl drives, his favorite car in My Name is Earl, is an El Camino. And that's the car that Gene Hackman drives in this. It's, this leads me into the chemistry between Gene Hackman and Will Smith. I wish there was more of it. Sometimes it clicks, and you had this fucking Shawshank Redemption kind of ending for this movie as well. It's it was completely unnecessary. I just didn't I don't know. When I saw it, that's the first movie I thought of. You know, he sent him a message.
His legs were beautiful.
Again,
his hairy legs.
But is there a place for this type of comedy in this movie? I don't know. I really don't know.
You talked about the comedy. The thing that made me go and gasp a little bit was actually the scene where he gets undressed in front of the aged Asian couple that he breaks into the room of, and she just and she's like, oh, and starts grabbing money off her husband and starts throwing it at him. It is, yeah.
Right after that bit, when he goes out the balcony, the henchman played by, most prominently by Barry Pepper and Jake Busey. I think it's Barry Pepper that leans forward down to the ground and picks up all of the clothes. It's a good set piece. Because I went, what the fuck? And then edits back later. So it's a little bit of check of gunnery there. But it is to set him up later. Yeah. You know? And it's clever. It's clever because I thought, why? Why are they picking up his clothing now? And I thought, maybe to leave no trace or whatever. But that was clever.
Well, I would say, and spoilers, if you haven't seen this 1999 film.
On you. It's on there.
The fact that how the first scene with the mob interlaces itself throughout the whole film and actually becomes the solution at the end of it was really clever. I didn't see it happening when and even when I originally
forgot
saw
about
this,
it as well.
Yeah, exactly. When I originally watched it, and when I've seen it now, I've seen this movie now 3 times over the past 4 weeks because it was one of the movies on the plane coming back home. So I thought, I'll put it on and I don't need to focus on it and I can just attend to my child who's watching whatever she's watching as well as try and get little bits of this movie back into my brain. The ending was a lot more because what you have is there's a point where Gene Hackman tells Will Smith's character, this is how I think we should do it. And then Will Smith
4 minutes and then you get out.
Yeah, and then you get out. And then Will Smith goes, no, we're not doing it like that. And then Gene Hackman sighs, and then it cuts to the next scene straight into what they're about to do. So you don't know what's going to happen. The fact that they brought back in the mobs and the scene with the area with Tom Sizemore and the FBI who are watching Tom Sizemore really works. It really works as an ending.
It does. It does. It ties it up nice and neatly into a bow, and because there's tapes involved in both, it's perfect. And that shootout is visceral.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
I mean,
Gabriel Byrne is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
as well, man.
but it's such a short.
Yeah, it's a shame, but he's great. He's great. I forgot how good of an actor he can be. We'll have to do Miller's Crossing at some point.
Yeah. But this is the one with Arnie. Was it End of Days?
Yes, End of Days.
He plays the devil. He plays the devil.
Yeah.
But this is why I ended up deep diving. I was like, why does Gabriel Byrne get a credit? And then there's Tom Sizemore, who is in the movie a lot crazy, more, and he doesn't get a credit. And there's a lot to the budget, and there's a lot to especially some of the older actors not overtaking some of the higher build actors.
Then I didn't mean to sound like we were, this is all in jest, but we tend to celebrate all character actors or smaller actors or whatever in this podcast, and big and small, we don't give a shit. But the idea is that we do have a huge amount of respect for Sizemore as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't want anyone to think that we were being disrespectful. It's just a joke. He's a fantastic character actor. He put the fear of God in me. When he stares right at him, and that's when we started at the beginning, I did say you wouldn't behave. And in fact, thank God that the movie goes out of its way to show you. It's in the script that he needs to turn around there and then when he feels threatened, because his behavior was unacceptable. I just thought, what are you doing? Why would you walk into this situation? And that's why probably you had to, during the casting as well, they probably wanted someone younger, because that kind of bravado goes with experience. You wouldn't walk into that scenario. You would exert diplomacy. You wouldn't fucking walk in and if you were to do that, you can only do that with a ton of wisdom behind you and experience. But the word wisdom and fucking around with mobsters doesn't go well in the same sentence.
No.
And in that entire sequence, you can only do that if you're crazy. And that's why a sequence of that kind works really well in The Dark Knight. In The Dark Knight, when the Joker turns up and there's all these heads of organized crime around the table, and he goes, I'm going to make a pencil disappear. One of the mobsters goes out of his way to say, you're fucking crazy. Do you remember that? Because he is. Because that's what Will Smith is doing here. He's doing a Joker. And it's, what are you doing? After that, you can actually visibly see him act fear a little.
Yeah.
Because he should be. He should be scared. And by the way, people like that exist.
With Tom Sizemore, what was really great about this is that you knew that Tony Scott, after working with him on True Romance, knew that Tom Sizemore will just enter the scene, do what he needs to do, and just absolutely kill it. Just absolutely get that whole little bit of, this is what a mobster would do. This is what a head of a family would do, especially when his livelihood is threatened. And that's one of the first things that happens. Will Smith goes in there all bravado and basically threatens his livelihood, which is why it's so believable the way he talks to Jon Voight. And Jon Voight is a big man. Jon Voight is not a... he's a huge guy. I would not want to step up to Jon Voight. And yet, it was so believable the way Tom Sizemore was like,
mate, Jon Voight's bullet dance was believable.
Yeah.
As everybody's getting shot, everybody's bullet dancing in that room. And even Jon Voight was a certain age. By then, he was like mid-60s. He's bullet dancing the shit out of that scene, man, as he's getting shot. Another connection to Seinfeld. George Costanza buys a car in Seinfeld and he thinks that he owns Jon Voight's car.
But you say about the bullet dance, just the push he gets from Tom Sizemore, and he hits his head on the whatever it is, the fridge, the freezer that's right behind him. Oh my goodness! Just the tension in that would not have worked without Tom Sizemore. Tom Sizemore really makes that final scene.
Now, connection to Frasier. Dan Butler. Bulldog is in this.
Yeah.
And he actually does a Bulldog as well. There's a moment in which he slams his hand on it. This is total BS. You know what he does in Frasier? He does it here. So, Steve, what was the Star Wars toy? You know, when he comes home with the lingerie and whatever, in that bag, in another bag, all these toys he bought for the kids. And one of them was something from Star Wars. What was, Steve?
It was basically a DL-44.
Basically.
Yeah, basically a DL-44, which is Han Solo's blaster. But it was a laser tag equivalent, which was done by Tiger Toys for Star Wars in 1998.
So do you guys know the game they were playing on the PlayStation?
Oh shit. Yes.
More nerdery. What was this?
Is it Wave Riders?
So it was Wave.
It's gotta be. If you said it like that, it's gotta be Wave Riders. It's ratings times.
So this is an 8 for me. It's a movie I bought. It's a movie which is in my collection. It's a movie I saw in the cinema. Unapologetically enjoy this movie. It's one of Tony Scott's better movies. Recently watched Last Boy Scout, as I mentioned, Umba this week as well. I really, it's a movie which has stayed with me, and I'm going to give it 8. I'm going to give it 8 spy satellites floating across the earth.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. Because that's fucking, that cutaway just keeps happening, dude.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
And it looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. But
it's
they use the same
satellite.
But they use the same one repeatedly.
Yes. It goes around left to right, then right to left.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's good. Different semicircles.
Right. So I gave it a 5.8. I was actually very surprised. As much as a 5.8 sounds low, I would definitely watch this film again. Do I hold it in high reverence? No, I don't. Even in terms of Tony Scott films, no, I don't. It is a fun little piece. The thing that shocked me the most was probably the star power in this film, and the more and more you watch it, the more and more people you start recognizing. There were just a few scenes that just felt disjointed and just didn't seem to connect with each other, and a few happenstance that you're sort of like, yeah, of course that was going to happen now, because how are they going to fill out another 20 minutes of this film? So mine was a 5.8 hairy legs.
Oh,
this is a 6.4 for me. It's a 6.4. It was still a pleasant experience to watch it again. Like, Steve came around. That really improves the watch, believe it or not, as much as we almost killed one another over a fucking filter. But it was an enjoyable experience. I mean, I didn't remember the ins and outs of this movie at all. Like, I remember the framework, and I remember that Gene Hackman and Will Smith were in it. I certainly forgot that it was a Tony Scott movie. So it's, he's sorely missed. He could do action like nobody else. Steve mentioned Last Boy Scout. I love that movie, dude. I love that movie. And it's not a great movie.
No, it's a terrible movie,
to do it at
but it's great.
We'll rate it highly because it's fun. It's fucking fun. And, Bruce Willis plays an asshole in it. Some of the quips, the quippy quips that Will Smith tries to inject in this really have aged poorly because our perception of Will Smith has changed massively.
Yeah.
Regardless of what was known in the circles, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's strange because your current behavior affecting your previous work. And we always rhapsodize about the ability that someone should develop of separating art from artist. But this is an artistry. Will Smith is not known for artistry. He is an action movie star, he's a TV star, and not to take anything away from him, but he got by. He got by because his public opinion was positive. The moment that turned, there's not enough skill to fuel that. That's the thing. Because we put up with assholes. We put up with allegations because the talent kind of almost superseded the scandal. But in this case, just not enough. That slap made it all crumble. There's a huge ensemble cast in here. That's what made it so pleasant because we were continuously pointing at the screen. And as a listener, you'll find yourself doing that as well. Time and time again, you recognize like a star from a TV show or something that, it's beloved to you. So it's an enjoyable time. You'll have an enjoyable time with this movie. We recommend that you watch it or rewatch it. It's probably a rewatch. Everybody, there's no way that this movie made $250 million and you haven't seen it. That's the thing. You probably have seen this movie. But it is a 6.4 and it's a 6.4 blenders. And I cannot believe that you guys have forgotten to mention that fucking blender. And on that note, this was Umba.
This is Steve.
And this was Ricky.
Hope it's not the creatures from above. You used to read me stories as if my dreams were boring. We all know conspiracies are dumb. What if people knew that these were real? Leave my closet door open all night. I know the CIA would say what you hear is all hearsay. Wish someone would tell me what was right.
Right. I can't say that. What's that? P-A-T-A-P-S-C-O. In Baltimore.
What?
Yeah.
P-A-T-A?
Yeah.
Double T?
No, P-A-T-A-P-S-C-O.
The Paranov?
Patapsco. Patapsco. Pronunciation. That's the Patapsco River.
Stop saying that, mate.
Patapsco.
Stop saying it.
I've got to get the pronunciation right. Let me just...